Hi everyone. This is a video about boundaries and different from what people normally talk about when it comes to boundaries, this idea of saying no to things so that you can say yes to other things. We're going to be taking this deeper into the realms of self-respect and this idea of self-honoring. So I'm David Brown and I'm here with Thea Crockett. We are the founders of the Institute of Sovereign Leadership, and we are going to be running a series of webinars called The Deciding Moment. And one of these deciding moments is this idea of boundaries and being able to say no to things so that we can say yes to other things, coming from this place of self respect, of self honoring, coming from the person that we really know ourselves truly to be in the very depth of ourselves. So, in order to do that, we wanted to share just a little bit of information, starting with the sovereign leadership framework and the first three steps of that, which starts with awareness. And Thea's going to share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So with every deciding moment, our starting point is what our habitual relationship to life is. So we have an unconscious world through which we respond to life again and again and again in the same ways. And the awareness piece of the framework is very much about knowing who you are in those different situations. So, whenever you have a decision to make, whenever you reach a deciding moment in life, whether it's big or small,
Mhm.
that kind of creates a bit of stress within you because there's tension. You've got a decision to make, even if it's not a very important decision. Nevertheless, your body goes into decision, and and in that stress, you're most likely to just start following your default patterns.
Mhm.
So even if that's about food, if your default patterns are to really enjoy a lot of food, then you'll probably say yes. And if your default patterns are to deny yourself pleasure and to be a bit more ascetic in your relationship to life, you might just say no without really considering
Mhm.
whether in this circumstance the opposite would be better, or you might have a bit more need for energy, or any number of other things that factors aren't being brought into play. You're just going,
Yeah.
that's what I normally do. So
So,
the
for example, if
acceptance,
you're a people pleaser, you'd say yes because.
yeah, you want to look after everybody and help them out. And if you have a tendency to protect your own energy, for example, with
Yeah.
boundaries, you might just say an automatic no without
Yeah.
thinking that actually maybe this time I could make an exception and
Mm.
be available and support other people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and a huge range around that, that
Absolutely.
it's massive range of possibilities here.
Mm.
But the first piece is to become aware of who you are. If you
Mhm.
want to be, if you want to lead as a sovereign leader from a place of leading from who you are, you need to know who you are. So that's why awareness is the foundational part of the sovereign leadership framework. And that leads to acceptance.
Yes, exactly. And that awareness part, just to say, is also really important because sovereign leadership is about leading in your wholeness. So to know the whole of who you are is partly to know some of your default patterns. And one of the default patterns that a lot of people have, I'm a past master at this one, is to maybe accept my default patterns, but also to get incredibly judgmental about myself about them. Yeah. So I'll, give myself a hard time. I'll be really critical. I'll be really down on myself about these default patterns and say that I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy and I'm not lovable and all of those sorts of things. And so this next step about acceptance is to be able to the skill, the practice of being able to accept our defaults and not harshly criticize or judge ourselves for them, to accept them with compassion, with love, to know that those default patterns have got us so far in our life. And now it's time to be able to move through those default patterns and act from different possibilities, from different choices that are more aligned to our values and our intentions and our purposes in life, which then takes us to the third stage of the sovereign leadership framework, which is around choice.
Yeah. So choice is a function of creativity. And to really have choice, you need relaxation in your system. And both if you're functioning from your default patterns, that choice is not available because you're doing what's automatic. If you're not accepting who you are, if you're busy berating yourself, again, choice is not available because everything's tight and you're too busy having a kind of internal argument to actually go, what is my what is the option that is going to best benefit myself, others, this situation?
Mhm.
So awareness and acceptance, if you follow those two steps, they almost automatically open up choice because you've brought your own system to a place of relaxation. Um, you're not having to do something automatically. So suddenly all these other opportunities are available to you. And this is where you can start to really adjust the range of responses that you engage with and choose. And so it really gives you this beautiful ability to be yourself because you can be, if you're a naturally kind of strong, the next workshop we're doing on boundaries, we're going to focus on warrior and lover archetypes. So if you're a naturally warrior style person and you're you've got a fire in you, you've got very strong boundaries, there's a slight something forceful about your personality. That's great. I mean, really valuable skills, so many valuable skills that you don't want to lose there. It's who you are. But sometimes you might just want to engage a bit more lover so that there's a little bit more softness there, that you're not over dominating others, you're giving space for other people to have their feelings or views known. And also for you yourself, there's a sense of self-love in there as well for yourself. At the other end of the scale, if your approach is very lover-like and you love to help people and you want to be, you're very focused on relationship building and a connection with others and with the world, then there might be times when you want to bring in a little bit more fire and steel to the way you negotiate that. And so the arena of choice is where that comes in. So I can be me, but I can just add that bit more steel, or I can be me, but I can just add that little bit more softness that is going to really um, enhance the outcome of
Yes,
this moment.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I think that this is where the self-respect and the self-honoring really comes in because it's like um, I'm not too hard on anything, but it's all about being context specific and being able to check in with yourself and to really know yourself in that moment so that you can make the choice that feels most aligned. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to be running this workshop, this workshop around boundaries on September the 8th. There's going to be a link in the comments for you to be able to find out more details about this one and the other ones in the series, the Deciding Moment series. Um, and if you want to find out any more information, please get in touch with one or either of us, so that we can, yeah, answer any questions that you've got and give you any additional information that you want. But to wrap up today's video, what we want to do is like leave you with a couple of calls to action. So the first one of those is going to be, if you now that you have this kind of awareness of this process of what your default patterns are, to just notice what your default patterns are as you're going through your day-to-day life, and to try and be more compassionate with yourself around those. So that's the first call to action. And the second call to action, Thea?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, I thought we talked about that. Okay. If you'd like to, please share it in the comments or share
Oh,
it with us
okay.
privately.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay. So there you go. I put you on the spot and you were really honest and open about it. And you were like, no, I've got no idea at all. Fantastic. Brilliant. So,
And
yeah.
just to add to that, though, just doing that, if you bring awareness and acceptance to your life,
Mm,
everything will change. Just
absolutely.
those two steps have the power to change so much in the way in the results you get, in the way you start following life. So it's a really valuable thing to start doing just of itself, is to start noticing what your default is, accepting it, allowing it, being okay with it, because that will give you the room to then expand it into new areas, and develop your sovereign relationship with the world and your leadership.
Beautiful. Brilliant. Great. So thanks for joining us. And yeah, any questions, get in touch.
Take care.